Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Nicole Hancock and I'm the dietitian at Lyft. I'm also the outpatient dietitian for all of West Tennessee Healthcare. The topic we're going to talk about today, we talked about kind of eating on the run, but we're going to take that spin of fast food. Oftentimes people ask me, what can I do if I have to eat fast food? What are my options? What's the best possibility for me whenever I'm driving through a town that has one place to eat and it happens to be a fast food place and it's either that or nothing for the evening? So I titled this No Time to Eat because oftentimes that's the reason we're drawn to a fast food place or to eating on the go is because I don't have time. We all know that fast food does equal obesity, unfortunately. However, one of the things that you have to think about is there's this reality that exists. We know that. We're not ignorant. We know how to eat healthy. We know the right things to do. However, here's the other reality as well, too. Exercise before kids and exercise after kids. Or just exercise anytime in a hectic schedule, whether you have kids or not. This is the other reality. You don't have the time. You may not have the resources, and you may not have the money at the time either to be able to figure out what do I do. Or I'm having to drive 3 hours and my only option is a fast food place. So there's two realities that we understand. The reason that draws us to fast food is because it's fast. I can go home and I can spend an hour cooking a meal, or I can run through a drive-thru and it takes 10 minutes and get home and have it eaten and be sitting on the couch in that hour as well too. Usually that sounds more appealing than taking time to actually eat different foods at home. So what I did with this presentation is I took some of the basic fast food places like Wendy's, Popeyes, Chick-Fil-A, we looked at Zaxby's, we looked at Sonic, we looked at McDonald's, different things like those. I didn't put Subway in here. That wasn't one that I deemed fast food necessarily, just because you still have to go into the building. It doesn't have a drive-through. So I tried to think more what has drive-throughs that we can get in and get out without ever having to be out of our vehicle. First time we went through, we looked at 400 calories, 300 milligrams of sodium, 40 grams of carbohydrates, and 10 grams of sugar. That was the criteria. It couldn't be over that to be able to be on the list of what did we deem we could actually eat at this place. I will tell you the only thing that we found was beverages that actually fit the criteria. I think there was 3 or 4 food items total, and the only ones that there were like side salads. Other than that, nothing else fit this criteria. So we did it again, and we said, well, let's look at some different criteria. We kept calories the same, but we increased sodium, carbs, and sugar. Now, I'll tell you, most of the time what set it out was the sodium. 90% of the time, because if you're going to cook something fast food, it needs to be processed so that they can keep its shelf life longer, because they're going to buy it all in bulk so they have enough for the day. So the only way to do that is adding extra sodium in there. That's why oftentimes you might see salads, you get a very large portion of that salad. Well, reason for that is they have to buy it in bulk, so they have to make money off of it before it goes bad. So I'm going to give you twice as big of a salad as what you actually need, because if I don't, I'm actually going to lose money rather than make money. So there is a cost ratio that comes into play with that as well too, as to how often do I get a food truck in. Some only get once a week, some get twice a week, some get 3 times a week. So how quickly can I order this food item, and then how fast are you guys going to buy it? So those are all things to kind of discuss. So the first one we're going to talk about is McDonald's. So McDonald's salads, the only one that worked was the bacon ranch without the chicken, and then the Southwest salad without the chicken. Now these are also without the dressing, so we haven't even added a dressing to it. Now why the chicken? Their meat is going to be more processed, and chicken naturally has a lot of sodium in there. But you look at, if that's where most of a salad that you would make at home, most of the sodium would actually be coming from the chicken, and that would be okay. And you could get 200-300 milligrams of sodium out of that chicken with nothing else on there, just other vegetables. But with this particular one, 300 milligrams of sodium was coming from nothing out of that chicken. Adding the chicken on probably would have put it another 300. So you would have been talking 600 milligrams of sodium, which is insane for a salad. It's a salad. Now, sodium is very much like carbohydrates. Everything has sodium in there. If you cut up our bodies and ate the meat off of our bodies, it would have sodium. You have to have sodium to function in your body. So you're going to have it even in fruits, even in vegetables. There's going to be a slight amount in there. But we still can control that. And to give you a reminder, sodium, a teaspoon of salt is 2,300 milligrams of sodium. That is your daily allowance. So if you ever pick up the salt shaker with any of this and add extra on it, you've most likely already gone over your amount. Okay? And again, the side salad, most of side salads, because that's just what they are, it's just vegetables on there. They're 10, maybe 20 grams or less of sodium, and that's pretty much across the board with most of your fast food places. So let's look at some sides. Would you have thought French fries would have made it on there for any of that? This is where you guys talk. No, we got one no. What do you think? If you didn't have the salt, but they do. Because McDonald's naturally salts it. So if with that, would you have thought that it would have made it? Probably not. So I thought, how sad is it out of every option that you have at McDonald's, French fries made it on the list before some of your other products did. Because things like the egg white McMuffin in the morning, that didn't make it on the list. It was still too high in everything. But yet French fries made it over that. And what naturally, if you're looking at the two, you would think, oh, an egg white delight, yeah, that's going to be a better option than getting some French fries. However, you don't see a large on here. No, a medium or a small or a kid-sized one is going to be those options. Apple slices, I was a little shocked that the strawberry Go-Gurt made it. And I don't know if they're using actual Go-Gurt, most likely not, or if they're just calling it that for the kids' sake. Because true Go-Gurt is usually extremely high in sugar, so I never expected it to make it on there. But some places will use the word Go-Gurt because, oh, well, it's yogurt on the go, but it's not actually true Go-Gurt, it's actually just yogurt, which is going to be a little bit less for you. And those kids' fries, again, that's that small one. Beverages, a lot of your lattes actually made it on there, which I was shocked that the small latte actually made it. You're excited about that? Because I figured that the carbohydrates or the sugar will be way out of whack on this, but it did actually meet it. And then again, your coffees and your diet sodas are all going to meet there. But these were the first things that came up, and the only thing that we had on our list was all of these beverages on these two. Nothing else would meet it. So looking at your condiments again, and the condiments too, I forgot about that. Those would usually meet it. But how many of you guys would have thought, I mean, we know obviously salt packet's going to be the highest, but tangy barbecue sauce. Is that one that you think is like a high sodium condiment compared to your others? You would have thought so? Not sure. What do you think? You would have thought so? Okay. Yeah. A lot of people, they do distinguish barbecue with a higher salty option. Now, whenever we're looking at these different ones, ranch would be our next, outside of the salt packet, of course, and then your mustard sauce, and then you're going through, or sweet and sour sauce would be next, and then honey mustard sauce as well, too. So be careful on those sauces, because just using, and that's one packet, and you guys know how big the packets are. You know, they're usually like a half an ounce, maybe an ounce if you're lucky. So that's one packet. I know people who get 16 packets to use it for one meal. So you have to double all of that, and sodium is just crazy. Even carbohydrates, whenever you're looking at the barbecue sauce or the sweet and sour sauce. You can get up into a significant amount of carbohydrates there, and even whenever we counsel diabetics, a lot of times they don't think about condiments. Now, some of your condiments are going to be very low, but that's only if they're not using a large amount of it. Again, these are some more condiments that goes on there as well, too. And again, sodium on two of them, the habanero sauce and then the tartar sauce, those were the main things that would have ended up throwing them out first. So those are some of your ones that are going to be a little lower. And these are your, what I called other, because these are a couple of other food items that actually worked there. Nothing else did. The 4-piece chicken McNugget, which shocked me that it actually worked. The hot apple pie, which I expected that to be thrown out. I thought it was at least 40 or more on the carbohydrates, but it actually wasn't. Oatmeal raisin cookie, and then your kitty cone. So kitty cone would be the best dessert item probably to get from there out of all of them. How many, I will tell you, Taco Bell has the most choices that fits the criteria. Would have anybody thought that? I'll guarantee you I didn't at all. I hate Taco Bell, and my husband loves Taco Bell. So I never will go because I can't ever find anything that I actually enjoy eating. He's like, no, we can find stuff. So I was so sad to have to go home and tell him, guess what? Taco Bell is actually the best option out of all of these. That made me so incredibly sad at the end of it. So some side items that you can do, the cheesy nachos, the hash browns, sides of eggs, any of your chips. Anytime you can do chips with a salsa, that's always going to be your better option. So anytime you say, I want chips as a side for anywhere, always try and get a salsa with it. It's always going to end up being the best option in terms of chips and a dip go. Churro Cinnamon Twist, the Latin Rice, and the Cinnabon Delights, the 2-pack. Shocked me how low that was as well too. But on your sodium, your highest one ended up being the cheesy nachos. But look at the difference between, we go cheesy nachos down to just the chips and corn salsa. So you see the difference. I mean, it's a good 130 milligram difference between the two. So again, you can automatically take a lot off just taking a salsa as a side instead. Beverages, again, these were the first things that came up. Most of them are going to be your diet ones or your coffees. They carry the Sobe Life Water. They would all meet the requirements. Some condiments here that you can utilize. The avocado ranch dressing is one of the lower ones in sodium, but also a low one in carb as well too. Some of your hot sauces, your cilantro dressing would have been your highest on that, and then also your tomatillo sauce. I would probably say that wrong every time. Some other condiments to kind of look at as well too, your pepper jack sauce. Your biggest one is going to be your red sauce on this one, and then your black beans as well too in terms of the sodium. Most likely because they don't rinse off. You know how black beans have that extra little coating whenever you open a can or open them anywhere? If you rinsing that off takes a lot of that sodium out of there. They usually use that as part of the sauce to make up like a black bean type of dip at your Mexican places. So that's an easy one that you know you can do at home that you can do that with. They probably aren't going to do it for you because they make it in a big batch and then they scoop it out. But that's where some of that's going to come from. And usually you don't eat all of that sauce in there. Now getting to the tacos, these are some of the tacos that you can actually get. The grilled egg and cheese taco, the fresco crunchy, the caramel apple empanada, the chicken cool ranch. Pretty much all of the chicken cool ranch are ones that would meet that sodium requirement and that low carb requirement as well too. Now granted, thinking about would one fill you? That's where the other aspect comes into play. I know in college, my friends used to have taco day. They would go and get 6 tacos, which I thought was gross. But one taco, this is just one. So if it's not going to fill you, then you also have to make that distinction in your head. Oh, well, if I'm eating 2 or 3, that's 1,000 plus milligrams of sodium. That is half of my daily allowance of sodium, and I just took it in all in one meal. Now, carbohydrates, you'd probably still stay under because they're so low, 10, 15 grams. So you're still only going to be getting up to 30, 40 grams of carbohydrates at a meal, which is actually okay. Again, it's going to be that sodium that's really going to be the biggest issue for you. Here's some other tacos: the crunchy, the fire Dorito, the nacho cheese, spicy chicken cool ranch. Those are going to be some other ones. And again, some of these only got in here because we changed that criteria. It could be up to 400, but you don't see any of these in the 200 range. So they're still going to be your higher option, but we can still get away with one of those. Popeyes. We looked at this one. Very little at Popeyes, go figure, that actually meet the requirements. Your baguette, your cheddar cheese tortilla, corn on the cob. I was sad that corn on the cob for them, I don't know what else they're putting on there. I mean, a corn is your higher carbohydrate vegetable, a starchy vegetable, and I don't know what extra they might be putting on there. I was shocked that the sodium, that they were saying that it was 0, because I thought it was seasoned. But again, I've never eaten at Popeyes, so I wasn't sure on that one. Beverages, and then a few of your condiments, but look how high these are in just comparison, because these are some of the Louisiana style, and they tend to use a lot of hot in there. Well, those hot sauces are where a lot of that sodium is going to end up coming from. Only 3 other things worked. So basically you can get a corn on the cob, and you can have a 6-piece chicken nugget, a 4-piece, or a chicken leg. And that's all you can have. So just saying. Keep that in mind. This devastated me, I'm going to be honest. I love Wendy's salads. So I was pretty devastated that my salad did not make it on this list. The only salad outside of your side salads that worked was the Asian cashew chicken salad, but it had to be a half size. So they have a berry one that came out. They have an apple pecan one. None of those made it on the list. And a lot of it comes down to sodium. How much of each item are we putting on there? A lot of times the feta cheese is on there. The white cheeses are actually your lowest in sodium, including feta. But depending on how much you're putting on there, it can add a significant amount of sodium. And then their nuts, how are they seasoning them? Now the one is a candied nut, so it's not going to be as bad. But still, they'll have the granola that they put on there. In terms of sodium, it's not going to be as bad for the candied nut, but the sugar aspect of it can also throw it out as well too. The sides, apple slices, obviously. And then again, the fries made it on here before most of your other products did. Still medium or a small size. not the large amount. But natural cut fries, to give you an idea, whenever these first came out, it was the big craze because they're sea salt and they're natural cut, so they've got to be better for you. Well, natural, again, refers to the way that they're cut. It has nothing to do with it's a natural potato or it's cooked a different way. It's just the cut on it. And then the sea salt, sodium-wise, isn't any different, but they do add extra minerals to it. And sea salt you can usually get in a crystallized form. The crystals are actually better, and then you grinding it yourself rather than the processed table salt, because they're processing that and adding more things to it to try and make that shelf life last a little bit longer. Beverages, again, a lot of your beverages, if they were unsweet or smalls, then they tended to meet the requirements for what we were looking at. So this gives you an idea on the roasted pecans, 60 milligrams of sodium, 6 grams of carbs. The pomegranate vinaigrette, which is one of the things that goes with one of those other salads, just it by itself was 150 milligrams of sodium. And oftentimes people want to use 2 of those packets. So then you're getting into 300 milligrams before you ever even start to eat the food itself. The spicy roasted cashews, those are, again, a little bit lower one as well. But anytime you see Asian or you see Mexican, those sauces always tend to be higher than most whenever you're looking at sodium. And again, the barbecue, that's another indicator, higher sodium. So those are words to think about if I'm seeing Asian, if I'm seeing Mexican, if I'm seeing barbecue. Those words just tend to draw us more towards that's going to be a higher sodium content. Again, with the lemon garlic Caesar dressing as well too. Caesar's another one that they're going to add some more sodium in there just for processing reasons. So that's going to be a little bit higher as well. So some more, these are just some other dressings that you can look at. We'll just highlight a couple of the bigger ones. So your apple balsamic vinaigrette, and that can come from their vinaigrettes that they might make. Some brands of vinaigrettes are going to be a lot better for you. Brianna's is a pretty decent brand that you can find at the store, but they aren't going to do that. They're buying in bulk. They're buying from manufacturing companies. They're already prepackaged, so they've got to make sure how long can my shelf life last in those little packages. Thousand Island dressing, 250 milligrams. And then again, the hot chili seasoning packet. Anything spicy, hot, a lot of times those are going to be your higher sodium ones as well too. Other ones that you can look at, any of the cheeses, of course. So your mustard, the sweet and sour barbecue, those are all going to be some higher ones, but still ones that you have to just control how much of a packet you're using. Same with some of your ranch and tartar sauces, your Asiago cheese. Those are going to be your higher ones out of the options. So any one that you know, can I control it to a small amount, that's going to be your better option to go to 9 times out of 10. Some of your toppings, just to give you an idea, the only toppings that really worked sodium-wise, the lettuce, of course, tomatoes, and then red onions. And then your pickles, 110 milligrams of sodium for 3 of them. So if you're a pickle lover, it's really going to throw out how many you can have. And then a couple of other ones. The only sandwich things that worked was the bun, which is still pretty high. The hamburger patties, 1/4 of a pound or a junior. So remember, this is separate. So if I'm going to eat a full hamburger, then I'm looking at 220 plus 260 milligrams or plus 290 milligrams. So carbohydrate-wise, we automatically know we take away the bun, we've taken away most of the carbohydrates. But sodium, you don't. You still have that aspect because that patty is coming in a package. And it's coming with 30 other ones that they're just throwing on the grill for you. So you still have to remember that's going to have a lot. They aren't getting ground hamburger and putting them together and making them for you, unfortunately. Let's look at some things from Sonic. The medium natural cut fries, again, those worked. The small ones, the onion rings, which shocked me. I really didn't think that the onion rings would work. But again, this is only 4-piece. And now if you've looked at Sonic, they have, everything is now set in mini, small, medium, and large. So mini cheese onion rings or mini mozzarella cheese sticks, it's like 2. But for ones who just need, I want to taste, and they're trying to watch it, that can work for individuals as well. Again, a lot of your beverages, most of your beverages actually, anything diet, anything unsweet, all of that met the requirements. And then getting over, it wasn't a lot of food items that met the requirements. It was really just your condiments, which are you really going to eat your condiments without your food? So you have to think about that as well too. What's the lesser of the evils? And anytime you can do something with less sauce, it's always going to be the better for it. and then the 4-piece chicken nugget, which was still extremely high, and that should be 35 grams of carbs, not 350 grams of carbs. I do apologize about that. Just noticed that. Burger King, this is another one. Does anybody eat at Burger King? Just curious. Sometimes? Okay. A few things here work. Some of their breakfast items, the kids' oatmeal, let's make that stipulation, and it's plain, nothing on it. The apple slices, again, some of your French fries, the Quaker oatmeal, and then the French toast sticks as well, too. Again, your beverages, mostly unsweet, decaf teas, things like that. Your condiments. Again, these are things that are going on the food item. We're still not talking about the whole food item itself. So you see how just the American cheese slice is 220 milligrams of sodium. That's an easy way. You want to cut back on your sodium, ask them just to take the cheese off. So those are things to think about to take from this. What can I take off or put on to try and help give me more food with less sodium or less carbohydrates in that? The ketchup packet, again, that's a big one. So mayonnaise would be a better option. Some of your dipping sauces, your best one would be your sweet and sour in terms of sodium, or the taco sauce, but like your French fry sauce, your marinara, ranch dipping, those are going to be some heavier ones. And again, pretty much across the board, any place that had a 4-piece chicken nugget, that was the only one that would work in terms of the chicken nuggets. Chick-Fil-A Salads, I was really sad, only their side salad worked. Their sides, only a small waffle fry met the requirements. Diet lemonade. And then some of their sauces. It was quite depressing to me because they do tell that they are a better option for fast food most of the time. That's kind of what they try and promote for themselves. So it's very interesting that they actually met the least of the requirements out of everybody. And some of that does come down to size of the food. If you cut it in half, that would help significantly. However, they have to make a profit, and they can't let food waste happen. So that's why they don't really enjoy. So anytime you can split something, it's always better. Zaxby's, we just looked at the salads, just the Caesar salad base, and then some beverages from there as well, too. We did have a couple of sides, the Texas toast, 5 buffalo wings, some of the carrot sticks, some of your condiments as well, too. Chick-fil-A fruit cups would work, grilled nuggets, and the waffle fries again. So still, look at your grilled nuggets, 6 of them, 400 milligrams of sodium. It's still extremely high, and I don't know many people who can get full off of 4 to 6 chicken nuggets, and then that's all that they eat for the whole meal. They usually want something else with it, so we've already went over a large amount by the time we actually get there. These are some of those oatmeal toppings as well, too, that you can look at, and those are always going to be the better option. Hash browns, still the hash browns were 400 milligrams of sodium. So if you wanted 2 things in the morning, I know a lot of people will do like those little mini chicken bite things, those little bitty sandwiches, and then they'll do some hash browns with it. I mean, you've already way gone over by the time you even hit half of that meal. What questions do you guys have, or is there one that you wish we would have looked at that we didn't? And I will email this PowerPoint presentation because a lot of it helps just to have it in a list format of I can take it with me or I can see what were those options again. So if you'll just leave your email address, I'll email you the presentation, or you can just email me at nicole.hancock@wth.org and I can shoot you that PowerPoint presentation anytime you need it. What questions do we have? Quit eating out, yeah. But again, reality is you have 2 different options of I don't have the time to go home and fix something and we've got a busy night, and then what do I do eating out wise if I have to? So it's always good. I tend to try whenever I buy groceries, you get as much prepared for the week as possible. You section it out in little bags, you section it out in little containers so that if you are on the go, you don't have time, it's already sectioned out. All you gotta do is shove it in a bag and walk out the door. That is a lot easier, and a lot of people just don't think about, I need to make sure that I plan a little bit ahead in that aspect. So those are some other things to think about as well too. What other questions?
Now for this you were looking at drive-through type
Yes.
places. What about the others, like the various deli type places? Do you have any idea?
Those are always going to be some of your better options because usually a place that's not fast food, they're going to accommodate more. So for you to go in and say, well, I want a sandwich, but all I want on it are the following things, they're a lot better with that. I will tell you in terms of lunch meats across the board, anywhere that you can go that carries boar's head lunch meat, it's typically 33% less sodium than any of your other ones. It's MSG free, it's gluten free, different things like that. So it is a much better option in that. I know for a fact that Rockin' Dough does carry that particular lunch meat. That's the only thing that they use, and their cheeses as well too. So anytime you can see that. Sara Lee would be a better brand. They tend to carry a little bit less on that as well too with that, and they promote, you know, low sodium luncheon meats. But anytime you can do the raw or the vegetable, the better it's going to be, or side ones. And then always ask a lot of questions. So things like Subway or Jason's Deli or any of the other ones that you can, like McAllister's, Panera, those types of things that you can sit down at, knowing some of those key words of, well, if it says Asian, if it says Mexican, if it says like the sun-dried tomatoes, things like that, those are automatically, sun-dried tomatoes in themselves can end up being 300 to 600 milligrams of sodium in a very few amount of them. So knowing those key words and trying to look at, well, can I take something off of there and still enjoy my food? Look at your cheeses. What kind of cheese is on there? If it's a yellow cheese, I would go for a white cheese. It's going to be lower sodium, lower fat. So those are all things that you can look at that would provide you with a little bit, much better option than what you might get at some of your other places. And looking at salad bars like Jason's Deli, they have some great options there, but they also have some really high sodium options there as well too, just because a salad bar isn't just salad anymore. It's pasta salads, it's crackers, it's things like that. One of their crackers that they have there, that's actually a pumpkin seed cracker, I believe, and it's organic, and everyone goes, oh, that's like the best that you could ever have. One cracker is 100 calories. Just one, and the crackers are about that big. Usually you want 3 or 4. So you could get 400 calories, higher fat, all in just your crackers, and you've never even eaten your meal. But you wouldn't know the difference because all you're hearing is organic pumpkin seeds, things that we feel are very, very good. So do be careful on verbiage. Anytime they get really fancy with verbiage, I get skeptical because usually they're wanting to try and hide something a lot of the time. So au gratin sauces, I always ask at restaurants, okay, what does that mean for you guys? They will always tell, if they're willing, usually they're always going to tell you what that actually is, and then you can, from that information. The fancier the words get, usually the more sodium they're just trying to cover up, and fat and carbs. Any other questions? Anything else? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Like I said, if you want to leave your email address, I can email this PowerPoint presentation to you as well, too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.